Today we're going to talk about this pen, a Delta Fusion 82. Some people have asked me whether I would be getting one. Of course I would be getting one. But today I'll discuss it. Now, what is so special about the Fusion? The Fusion is a pen series, I guess. This is the 82. There's also the Fusion 1. It's a new series of pens by Delta, and they have nibs that are made of steel, but they have a bit of gold sort of welded on top of them. I'll try to show you that in the review. And Delta claims that this is a revolutionary new system. Not only is it cheaper than making a nib entirely out of gold, because gold prices have skyrocketed recently, but Delta also says that they have an interesting way to describe this and say that this will enhance your writing experience because the bit of gold on top of the steel will increase the viscosity of the ink as you write. Now, I'm not a chemist, but as far as I know, viscosity is an inherent property of a liquid. So this is kind of like saying that if you put water in a stone mug instead of a glass, it gets wetter or something. I don't think that's possible. In other words, it's male bovine feces, but that's okay because the pen, I can tell you, writes really well. So forget about the marketing, try to keep an open mind, and I'll tell you what the pen is all about. It comes in this wonderful box. I love this design. It's cardboard, black cardboard. I thought this was a little bit Da Vinci like, sort of a tech sketch. It says something with the 18K gold stuff on there, and then the nib, and it's just a nice picture. I think it looks pretty cool. The Fusion 82. You open up this box, and in there is the coolest pen box I have ever seen, but I'm not going to show it to you yet. First I'll show you the other stuff that's in there. There was this highly enigmatic thing. At first I thought it would hold a converter. It says Delta, and it says made in Italy, and then Delta again, and then made in Italy again, and then Delta again. So that's a nice way to occupy yourself on a rainy afternoon. This holds a cartridge, and another one, and yet another one. It just keeps going and going, so that's kind of fun. 3 cartridges. I'm assuming black. They look like black, but I'm not sure. I haven't opened them because, of course, I use the pen with a converter. But this is a nice touch, nice packaging. I like that. Then we have this little booklet, which shows you how to fill the pen with all different types, a button filler and a cartridge filler and all the stuff. But you already know that, so we don't need that. Then we have a little guarantee slip sheet thing. We have a little booklet on the Fusion nib, so you can all read it by the fireplace or something. Again, it has these fancy sketches of technical details and things with the stuff, and which is cool. It's in Italian, but it's also in English, so that's cool. And then there's this card, which has, I think that gives you the information of the retailer, etc. So there you have it. I think that's all that's in the box. Yes, and then you have this little thing that comes out. That was what the cartridge thingy was in there, but there is, I hope, nothing in here. Well, I'm not even going to open it. No, nothing in there. I mean, for all you know, they put another pen in there, right? You can't be sure. Okay, now let's have a look at this magnificent box, because I can tell you I've seen my share of pen boxes, and I think this one is extremely cool. As you can see, this is highly reflective. It's hard plastic. It's partially see-through, so this nib is actually see-through. If you hold that to the light, and there's actually light coming through, you see the whole outline of the nib, which is fantastic. You can see the pen in the box through there. I'm not sure how well you can do that because of the lighting here, but you can probably see a little bit of it right there. It says Fusion 82. It has a little metal knob on there, which is chrome colored with gold on top. I'm sure it's not really gold, but it's the same sort of theme that's with this Fusion nib with steel with gold on it. I think that's beautifully done. The sides are made of a very soft sort of foam-like material, and then the bottom of the box is again this hard plastic, and it has this knob which does not have gold on it, but it does have the chrome color. And as you can see, highly reflective, which I think is a lot of fun. I can see myself looking at myself. Anyway, a little sort of strap, rubber, I wouldn't call this a rubber band, it's a type of strap. And then one of those sports cars, I don't know anything about cars, that have the doors that open like this. Is that Lamborghini or something? Well, that's what this box does. Now, is that freaking awesome or not? Because I really love it. I don't think I've ever been this enthusiastic about a box, which is sad in itself, but it's true. And here we have the beautiful pen. Okay, these pens, I just read in the booklet, come in 7 colors. Last time I checked, I don't think they were all available in the US. I got the fuchsia pen, which is just this sort of purple. I guess you might call this lavender instead of fuchsia. It doesn't really matter. This is not a lesson on color theory. I got this from La Couronne du Comte in the Netherlands, where I could get the fuchsia and where I could get the stub nib. I'm not sure whether the stub nibs are available in the US, but maybe they are. Just check it out. Okay, this was a lengthy introduction. I'll now discuss the parts of the pen, tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and I'll do a writing sample. Okay, the parts of the pen. Let's start with the cap. I mean, the overall body of the pen has this really nice material. I really love the finish on this pen. It has some really nice marbling effects, which you may not see. I know that this won't really focus, but it may give you a bit of an idea. A very nice, smooth material. I really love that. I love the shape of the pen. Nicely tapered. It's not a small pen. I like that. Let's talk, I was starting about the cap. Well, we have a clip. Clip is quite tight. It's very reflective, sort of chrome. It has a center band with a little ring above it. On the back of the cap it says Delta, Italy, and then it says 2138, but this is not a limited edition, right? I'm not sure whether they number all their pens. What I do like is that they have just etched it in the cap. You cannot see it. I'm sure you cannot see the lettering. It's just etched in there. This is an improvement. Here I have my Delta Dolce Vita Oversize. I love this pen. But on the back of the cap, in huge white letters, it says Delta Dolce Vita. And this one is number 2. Does Delta number all the pens? Sorry, gap in my knowledge. But this really stands out, whereas this is much more subtle. So I love that. On the center band, it says Fusion 82 in this font, which is somewhat stylized. I kind of enjoy that. Looks cool, and I think that's all that's there. There are no features, I think. Did I feel something? No, that's just the material. And there are no features on the barrel that I can discern. Screw open the pen, and then you see that nib. Now, I know this is not going to focus, but just to give you an idea, you see the gold on the steel nib, which would lead to increased viscosity in that interesting story. Then we have the section, the same material as the barrel, which I think makes for a very nice uniform pen. Threads, barrel thread, actually the cap threads, I might say, don't feel particularly sharp. I do feel them, but they're not really sharp. The section is not small, so it's pleasant to hold all the way down there. Even for me, usually I hold my pens a bit higher. With this pen, I don't really feel the need to do that. And then there's a little bit of a flare up there. I don't think you can really see that, but it's there. And there's a small step down from the barrel to the section. I'm not sure how well you can see that. It's right there. unscrew the barrel. You get the converter. There's nothing fancy about this converter. It doesn't have bits of gold on there to increase the flow of the ink or whatever. It's just a regular piston type converter. You put it on into the section, and it's on there very tightly. It doesn't screw in, but you will not just pull this out. It's really tight. I like that. And that's all there's to it. I was wondering whether I could convert this to an eyedropper, because this is one piece, and there is no metal threads or anything on this section. So with a bit of silicone grease, I might try it out. Of course, I don't want to stain the inside of the barrel, so I would use a very simple ink, and nothing too fancy, but I could try that once. I'm not sure whether it'll work. Okay, screw that back in place. As I said, decent size, even when not posted. I think this is a very decent size. You can post the pen if you want to, and then it's a really nice, fairly large size. It's quite light, this material. As I said, there's almost no metal on there except on the nib, of course, and the cap. So it's not a heavy pen. It's pleasant to use for extended writing sessions. The nib, on that bit of gold, there is a symbol of a nib. It says Delta 18K. Actually, it says KT for carat. It says 750 for 18 karat, and it says S for stub. And that's all there's to it. So what do I like about the pen, and what do I not like about the pen? Well, I love the finish. I really think this is a beautiful color. Really nice effects, really nice marbling. Dan from FP Geeks got one in brown, and we sort of exchanged our thoughts, and he said he really liked the brown finish of his pen too. So Delta really seems to have nailed it with this material. I think it looks really nice. I love the nib. As I said, forget about the marketing. This is not some miracle nib that will, make you coffee when you push a button or something. It doesn't do that. It doesn't change your inks into something completely different. I didn't notice anything of the kind. What I did notice was a very, very smooth writing experience. And that's really all that matters, right? And that's what this pen does. So I love that. I love the way it's shaped. It's great to hold. The step down from the barrel is not too large. I think it's fantastic. One thing, if I have to pick on something, you can post the pen, but it doesn't seem to be the most secure. How should I put that? There's not a lot of purchase for the cap on the barrel, so it may fall off. Having said that, as I said, it's not the smallest of pens, so even for me, it's easy to use unposted. And that's all there's to it. So that was a very lengthy discussion. I think that's more than enough. I've tortured you long enough. You want to see how it writes. That's what we're going to do next. I hope this was useful, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye. So, writing with this pen, this camera picks up details a bit better than my webcam. So just look at the beautiful marbling here. I think it's a really beautiful pen. See that interesting gold bit on the nib? Quite interesting. Okay. So, what we have here is the Delta Fusion 82. The nib is a stub. The ink is Ackerman Simplistis Violet. The paper is Rhodia. The country is the Netherlands. The desk is oak wood. And I think that's pretty much all you need to know. Okay, let's do some writing. I thought this purple ink complemented the pen pretty nicely. Writing, I can tell you, is very smooth, it's pleasant. Is this the smoothest steel nib I've ever used? No, I think the smoothest steel nibs I've used are from Faber-Castell, but I can tell you this nib is very, very smooth and pleasant to use. So it's by no means a bad nib or anything. There is no scratch. I think it's very impressive. I'll do some fast writing to see how well the feed keeps up. And I think it kept up very well. There may have been a little bit of a skip there. I'm not sure. That's sort of the part of the page where the paper moves a little bit, so maybe that was, I think that's what it caused, what caused the skip. Apart from that, everything was just, you know, very decent. When it comes to wetness of the pen, well, it is a stub. As you can see, it lays down a beautiful even patch of ink. I think that's very, very nice. It doesn't seem to be excessively wet. Of course, that's also a property of the ink, but I do think it's, yeah, very, very good, very even, very nice. Okay, now we have to check out line variation. I'm actually interested. I haven't really tried that. Now, the problem is, of course, that because this is a stub, you'll get natural line variation just by the shape of the nib. So what I'll do is to gently start with no pressure and just apply some more pressure, and then no pressure again. And I do believe you see a bit of line variation there. It is not extremely pronounced, but it is there, and it's well, it's there. But I guess this is caused a lot by the shape of the nib. You see, this is no pressure, and it gives the same effect. So with a stub nib, a lot of people like using a stub or an italic or something like that, because it gives you a little bit of a calligraphic effect in your regular writing, so it appears to improve your handwriting. I guess in principle you could use this pen or this nib for some calligraphic purposes. After all, it is a stub, so you could do that if you want. I have to tell you, I think it's a fantastic pen. It's that simple. I really love it. I love the way it performs. Writes well, not scratchy, pleasant to use. Great pen as far as I'm concerned. So, I hope this was useful, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.